The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Douglas County Rural Fire Protection District, Oregon, job number 30513. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment. Let's get started with a brief orientation. Starting down at the front bumper, you have two attachment points, tow hooks. On the driver's side, an electronic siren. Moving to the headlight cluster, on the outer edge of the headlight, you'll find your turn indicator. Moving just to the side of that, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. Moving to the center, you'll find two grill-mounted emergency lights. Located at the top, you'll find the pull handle for the hood. Moving to the driver's side, you'll find the air intake. Moving to the top of the fender, you'll find a right and left turn indicator. On the lower section of the mirror, you'll find a convex portion. On the top portion of the mirror, you'll find a flat. Let's review a couple of the items here real quick. Once again, you have two open tow hooks down in the base of the bumper. Moving up into the dash area, you'll find your two emergency warning lights and the pull handle at the top. Moving to the right and left side, you'll find your headlight and turn indicators. Moving down onto the bumper, in the very front driver's side, you find your emergency siren and PA system. On the side fender, you'll find your turn indicator. On the back portion of the hood, you'll find this release mechanism. Once it's released, this will allow you to gain access by lifting the hood from the center through the pull handle located on the black. Let's talk about some of the components within the engine. First, you have your power steering fluid located in this compartment. Located in the left-hand side of the engine, you'll find your check for engine oil dipstick. You'll also find transmission dipstick. Moving up onto the top, you'll find your oil fill location. You'll also find two lights located just under the hood. There are push on, push off underneath the light itself. Moving down on the passenger side, you'll find your windshield wiper fluid. Up at the top passenger side, you'll find your radiator fill location. And you'll find the cap for the windshield wiper fluid on the lower section. Generalized view here of the side of the apparatus. Let's break down some of the components starting with the front of the cab. You have a pull handle with a keyed lock. Above that, you'll find the handle for entering and exiting the vehicle. Down at the base, you'll find perimeter lighting. Moving upward into the tank, the silver cap is your diesel fill. The blue cap is your DEF fill location. Moving up onto the top is the air and power access. We'll show you those in just a moment. Up on the top, we've talked about the mirrors, convex on the bottom, flat on the top. As we move to the very top, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Here are some close-ups of those images. Pull handle with the key. Convex portion mirror and flat mirror. Down in the bottom, you'll find your silver tank, which is aluminum. That is your diesel fill. The blue is your DEF. Under the cab, you'll find your air inlet and your 20 amp short inlet. You can see the black tank houses the 4.5 gallon DEF fill location. This is your shore power plug. We'll now move up to the top at the crosslay location. As we look just to the right of the crosslay, you'll find crosslay 1 and crosslay number 2 pre-connects. Moving to the right, you'll find 2 grab handles and also a work light. Moving underneath, you'll find when your transmission is engaged, your PTO is installed, the pump light will indicate. We'll start now in the upper left-hand corner. First with the maintenance schedule, 150, 200, and 250 GPMs. You have your master intake. Moving to the right, you'll find your master discharge. Moving to the bottom between the 2 in the gray area, you'll find your test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They are currently plugged. As we move to the left, you'll see a indicator for an audible speaker, your check transmission, and your TPG throttle pressure control gauge. To the right, you'll find a set of rocker switches in the gray area. First is the panel lights, also an indicator, which is your pump engaged in green, and then 4 future locations for switches if you need. Moving down onto the pump panel itself, you'll find your discharges, color-coded yellow number 1 crosslay, color-coded white crosslay number 2. Moving all the way down, you'll find the number 1 driver's side discharge in red. Just to the right, you'll find the number 2 passenger side discharge. The 2 lower discharges are 2.5. The number 3 discharge is also a 2.5 in blue. Your tank fill recirculating line. Just beneath that, you'll find your tank to pump. Moving up from that location, you'll find your water tank level. This is the tank level of your water in your rear of the apparatus. You'll also find the engine cooler. This is a twist, not a pull. Here's a close-up of those images now. We'll break those down individually. First, water level for your tank, from full, 3/4, half, quarter to refill. Your primer for your fire pump, push to prime. As we look, there is a warning label regarding pressurized caps and the hazards associated with that. Here's an image of the number 1 and number 3 2.5-inch discharges. Located in the center is your large diameter intake. Moving to the right is your main pump drain. Moving further down, you'll find your auxiliary side, auxiliary inlet drain. You'll find the auxiliary inlet, 2.5-inch ball valve. Underneath that, you'll find number 2, number 1, and number 3 discharge drains. You'll also find steps on the right-hand side that fold down, and also perimeter lighting under this location. Let's go ahead and move now to the compartments located just to the right of the location of the pump panel. This is a 2-pole compartment. The first handle allows you to open the first door. Once the first door has been opened, reach inside the compartment. You'll find the lever, which is black. Pull up or down, which will allow the mechanism to release, allowing you to have access to the full compartment. You can see this is a split compartment. In the upper left-hand corner, you'll find the battery tender. This is a shore outlet, 20 amp. It's plugged into shore power. The battery charge will trickle charge your batteries. There is also lighting within each side of those compartments. Just in front of the rear tire, you'll find a side marker light. You'll also find an emergency warning light. Moving to the side of the apparatus, you'll find a side dump. As we look at the rear of the apparatus, we'll find the cluster for the reverse, brake, turn, and emergency light. Just up from that on both sides, you'll find access doors for rigid hose storage. You'll also find controls, which I have close-ups here of the next set of images for switches. Down in the lower left is your license plate location. Moving to the center, you have 2 attachment points or tow hooks.
Moving up, a 2.5-inch direct fill for your tank. Located in the center discharge. Moving all the way to the top, you have rear-facing scene lights, and located in the center is a reverse camera. Let's take a look at those components next. As we talked about, we have the set of cluster for brake, turn, reverse, and emergency, driver's side dump valve, and rear scene lights. Located in those compartments on each side is hose storage location. Down at the base, you'll find your license plate holder and light. In the center, you'll find the rear dump. You'll also find your 2 attachment points on the very rear. 2.5-inch auxiliary direct fill. Moving once again to the top, scene lights, and in the center, you'll find your backup camera. As we look to the side of the tank, you'll find mounted on top 360-degree emergency lights. Moving now to the side of the apparatus, this is the passenger side. You'll find once again a tank dump on this side. Moving just forward of that location, you'll find a side-mounted emergency light. Moving just forward of the rear wheel, you'll find a side marker light. Moving to the front section here, you'll find once again similar configuration with the dual pole, and also your exhaust located on the lower left-hand side of this image with a warning label regarding hot exhaust and be cautious as to where you park. On the side, you'll find your Zyco portable storage tank rack. Located mid-pump, we'll go ahead and break down the components here. The controls for your powered equipment rack, which I just mentioned. An access panel. Behind that access panel gives you access to the pump area. Let's talk a little bit about the powered equipment rack. There is an on-off switch, green light, and an up and down. Located on this side also, you'll find a number 2 discharge 2.5-inch port. Also located on this side is the large diameter pump intake. This is also a smaller access door on the same side for the large diameter pump. You'll find the number 2 and number 1 crosslay drain. Also the auxiliary passenger side drain. Moving down, the passenger side auxiliary inlet, 2.5-inch. Underneath, you'll find perimeter lighting. As we move up to the side, you'll find additional grab handles for accessing the top of the vehicle. Same configuration as your crosslays on the driver's side. As we move into the 2 front doors, you'll find warning labels located on each of the door panels. Located on the driver's door, you'll find additional warning labels and caution labels. As we move into the cab of the vehicle, down at the lower right-hand corner, you'll find this yellow placard. Just beneath the yellow placard, you'll find your master battery switch. Let's review the placard information. It has your job information, date of manufacture, VIN number, gross vehicle weight ratings, and also fluid information. Also located in this vicinity, you'll find your Pro charging system for shore power. You'll also find comfort controls located under the seat. As we move forward into the cab, we'll talk about some of the components within the cab. Let's first start down at the base. You'll find your treadle for brake and also throttle. You'll also find your ignition switch. Moving up to the top, you'll find your steering wheel. We'll talk about some of the components on the left-hand side of the steering wheel next. You have a height, length, and gross vehicle weight placard on the left. In the center, you'll find your transmission, water, oil, RPM, and speedometer. As we move to the right-hand side of the set of gauges, you'll find a two-part gauge, your DEF and also your diesel fill, air for the front and air for rear. You'll find your transmission pad. Located in the upper left, you'll find your traction control and also the filter minder for the air filter restriction. Located inside the area of this cluster of switches, we'll cover some of the items here. First, let's start with the yellow pull to apply parking brake, push to release. As we move to the left of that, we'll find the PTO shift for on and off. You'll find your shift at idle speed only indicator, PTO engage green indicator, and OK to pump green indicator. As we move to the right, we'll talk about some of the switches in this location. First, starting in your upper left, your regen information, mirror heat, high and low engine brake, 2 future locations, load manager, folding tank rack, open door, and low voltage. As we move down, we'll find your siren and horn selector, rear scene, perimeter lights, in red, a high idle switch, a green indicator for OK to engage the high idle, and your master tank dump in red also. To the right, you'll find also a Pierce indicator for your seat belts, green indicating that someone is in the seat and belted, red indicating that they are not belted. There's currently nothing displayed in the Pierce location now. Moving down, you'll find your siren horn, rear scene, perimeter lights, high idle, OK to engage high idle, and the master tank dump. As we move further down from the dash, you'll find your climate control. You'll also find your driver's side dump valve, some indicators regarding passenger and also rear dump. Here's a close-up of those images once again for the driver's dump valve, passenger dump valve, and rear dump valve. As you can see, they are currently red, indicating that they are closed, in the green, indicating that the valve is open. As we move to the top of the dash, you'll find your monitor. This is the monitor for your backup camera. It is adjustable in any direction for the operator or the passenger. Look overhead of the operator. We'll find first a set of switches in addition with your siren control and public announcement system controls. Let's start in the upper left-hand corner of this set of switches. As we move through this, you'll first find the emergency master, roof light, front warning light, side warning light, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. To the right of these set of switches, you'll find once again the PA system and electronic siren. Just underneath this location, underneath the visor area, you'll find additional information here on the visors. You'll also find mounted in the center of the cab some push-on, push-off reading lights, and also a center-mounted warning light that is red, indicating that you have a door or compartment ajar. Here are those important information regarding your DPF regen, hot exhaust, and DEF refill. Let's go ahead and move to the passenger side of the vehicle, generalized view into the passenger compartment. As we look inside the passenger compartment, you'll find on the center console, right-hand side, you'll find your vehicle data recorder. You'll also find 2 audible speakers. As we move down to the floor, you'll find a foot pedal. This is for your electronic siren. Generalized view of the passenger side of the vehicle. Let's go ahead and move to the very top of the apparatus. On the driver's side, you have an access ladder point gaining access to the very top, which is the location of your top fill for your tank. There is also a latch on the side. Currently the latch is in the open position. Congratulations, Douglas County Rural Fire Protection District, Oregon, on your new apparatus, job number 30513. If you have any questions as to the content or questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales associate. Thank you and congratulations.